Welcome back to a brand new video where I will be creating a Lemax Spooky Town city street platform. So I don't have any buildings out like I did last time because I will really just be making a generic platform that can really contain any building that can fit a city street theme, which is different from platforms like the Wild West platform, which only have a few buildings, and so everything is made specifically for each building. So as you can see, I already got the main base platforms laid out, and I measured these, made sure they were roughly the same size. This is some older pink foam board, so it's not in the best shape. However, I did try and pick the best sides for this. Alright, so here's what it looks like, fully dry and cured. The foam, as you can see, has switched from soft and sticky to just foam. Doesn't stick at all. Before I begin carving it with my hot knife, I need to use the Sharpie to mark out where I want to cut certain things. Alright, hot knife is ready. I have it outside. Always cut foam outside if you're using anything with heat. If you're just cutting it with a regular box knife or something, it's fine. But yeah, I'm gonna get into it. So let's get started. Alright, so here's where we are at right now. Just remember, it's really hard for me to record and use the hot knife. I want to make sure I'm being as safe as possible, so I'll try and get as many clips as I can, but you won't see too many. But it's very simple. I recommend using the sawing motion if you're going through big chunks. For these parts here, I used the tip and I just drove it through. You can do a lot with a hot knife. Here's where we are at right now. I really like how it's looking, but it's time for details. And so before I put on the drywall spackling stuff, which is coming soon, I want to put on the piece of foam board that's all detailed to cover this wall, because that's going to be the easiest way to make that look good. Then I can cover in the cracks. These holes are all different sizes, but I don't want them to be. And so my plan is, using Dollar Tree foam board, I'm going to cut it out to size, and I'm going to put some details into it to shape it, and then I'm going to cut out holes, all the same sizes, right, to make everything look really nice and neat. Obviously it is Spooky Town, so it's supposed to be pretty beat up and dirty, but I don't want it to be that random, because it is a city. Anyways, then once I'm done with that, I'm going to use the spackling stuff to smooth everything together so there's no lips that the cords get stuck on, and then we should be good. Very easy to just peel off the paper and get to the foam underneath. And the foam underneath, if I use a ball stylus, should be pretty easy to carve. Just like that. Alright, so I finished with all the cobblestone texture on these wall panels, and oh wait, wrong side, there you go. It literally took forever. I was working on this one and I just had to take a break, and it ended up lasting a while, so that's why this video is coming out later than I would have hoped, is really just because of this, because man, that is very tedious. It takes a long time no matter what you do. So anyways, now it's time to hot glue this stuff on. I figured hot glue would be the easiest. I am going to probably do most of it off camera because that's easier, and then I will come back when it is all glued on and we can start using the drywall hole filler. Here is what the platform looks like with the foam cobblestone on, and now what I'm going to use is pink stuff to fill in all the cracks and build up some areas that need it, and I'm also going to smooth out these hills. There's essentially a ton of stuff on this that needs pink stuff. I don't know if I'll have enough actually, but we'll try and use what we can. Now I'm going to make a Mod Podge mixture that includes black to fill in all the cracks and add in shadows while also sealing the platform. I then went ahead and created a gray paint that I could then sparingly apply all over the areas where I wanted it to look like concrete, and I think it turned out pretty well. From there I dry brushed a lighter gray onto the cobblestone to help highlight the stones. And then after researching, I found this really cool paint stippling technique that allows me to add some cool texture onto the cobblestone that makes it look much more realistic. And finally, once that was all dry and set in place, I put a black wash all over the cobblestone that I would dab away in random places to help add that sort of spooky, untaken care of feel to the cobblestone. From there I began work on the city park, which started off simple. I just put brown all over the area where I wanted dirt. Alright, so I let the paint dry overnight, and here's where we are at. This is looking really good. And so I think it's definitely ready for the garden and work on that vegetation now. Alright, so I really love how the grass turned out. This color looks amazing compared to the other colors on the platform. And so, yeah, it definitely blends in well. The next thing I'm going to do is work on the fence. So the fence is going to be kind of tricky to figure out, but I think once I get a design figured out, it'll be easy for the rest of the fences. So I've got a straight piece of wire it's able to go across the whole length of the park down here. And then I'm going to use these sections to section off the fence. And I'm going to tie them all together using this floral wire. And I can always add some glue in if needed. So let's get that done and then see where we're at. Alright, so I have the fence done. Well, the base of the fence, I guess. And now what I want to do is sort of design some kind of fancy designs with this wire to put inside each of these little fence pockets. I want to try and make them not too hard to recreate, but I want to make them look good. I want the fence to have that fancy old sort of glossy black look to it, so that I can create it for the entire platform and it won't take too much time. So yeah. Alright, so here's what the fence looks like. I'm going to put these on and then I'll paint them when they're on the stand. That way I don't have to touch the metal after it has paint on it, because that could rub off the paint. Alright, so I've got all the fences done. This is what I decided to do. I decided to have one fence go here, along this side, there, and then the same on the side. So I got all those put in. And now I'm going to use this really nice glossy black paint that works great for making fences that look like they're from that sort of Victorian era. So just gonna get a ton of it out and we'll get painting. Alright, and then once all the fences are painted with black, it's time to make the trees. For the trees, I'm going to start with a bunch of wires, and I'm going to twist them together and try and figure out a way to turn this into a tree. Alright, so here's what the tree looks like. Got the wires bent, and I have two wires sticking out that are pretty long, and so they should be able to go into the stand quite well. And so yeah, that is what the trees are going to look like before they have clay, because I'm planning on sculpting onto these. So let's go make one more to come off of this hill, and then we will do two more over there. Alright, so I got the trees finished and up on my desk. They're looking pretty good, but I want to put clay on them to help seal the illusion that they're trees, which it'll be a very simple process. I rolled out some thin clay here, and I'm going to use Bacon Bond, and I'm going to cover all of the trees. Alright, here are the trees that are covered in clay now. I tried to position them once I got the clay on to make them look more natural, and I really like how they turned out. Now, they're not fully done. I still need to add on the bark texture, which will be pretty simple. And then from that point on, they should be good. There are some spots where like the wire is sticking out or it's kind of not fully smoothed in. But I left that because it makes it look more natural, which is what I'm going for. So with that being said, I'm going to start off by adding some bark texture onto this tree to show you. And then as always, I'll do the rest off camera because that just seems to work better. So yeah, I'm going to start off using this tool. Now that the trees are baked, I'm going to give them a base coat of black. And now that the trees are all painted black, I'm going to add in a dry brush of brown. To do this, I'm just going to get some paint onto the brush. I'm going to try and keep it on the tip. And then I'm going to wipe as much of it away as possible. Then finally, I can use the paintbrush that has been wiped off pretty much fully with some barely left on there. And I can move it really fast over the surface, and that will add on a brown color on the surface, but not into the cracks where the black is, which is what I want. Alright, so I got all the trees done. Here's what they look like. It's kind of hard to see the brown paint but it is there, and I do like that it's really retained that really black, dark look. But I'm going to add these in now. So the first one I want to add on here, and my plan is to not glue them in unless they start falling out. And so I'm going to always try and keep this thing level, and hopefully they won't fall out, but if they do, I can always glue them in, so that's the plan. But I got 2 wires at the bottom of each of them, so that should help. So I tried to make sure none of them would stick out to the left side of the platform, because that would go into the platform on the side of it, and I think it should work. So let's go, well, maybe we go here and push it in. Oh yeah, that's a firm fit. Wow. Does not need any glue there, and I don't think it came out the other side. You feel back there. No, we're good. There we go. First tree on. And the next one I'm going to add, we can put kind of intertwined with that one. I think that looks good. Yeah. And so this will keep the branches from encroaching into the city, and it won't go out into the other platform. That's nice, and we're going to push it in all the way. There we go. Okay. That side's done. Let's go over and work on the other side. There's another angle on it. Alright, for this side, I want this tree to be over here, so it's easy to see that special little hole there. I kind of like it. It looks like a hand. It was sort of a happy accident, but let's put it in right here. Awesome. And then this one, I'm going to have it sort of angling up here. Maybe we'll go there. Awesome. I love that. And that doesn't go off the platform, which is perfect. All right, and there it is. The Dead City platform finished. And I decided not to get every single building out to fill this thing up because it's not the Halloween season. I'm just recording real quick to show you guys what it looks like with buildings. If you want to see it full of buildings that sort of are themed together and look good on there, as well as some accessories on there, just make sure to stay tuned, subscribe to my channel, and I will be posting a video next Halloween in 2026 of all my platforms filled with the buildings. So, but yeah, this just gives you an idea of what it's going to look like. As you can see, the holes work perfectly. The cords can come through there, plug into the building, and you don't even see them if you're looking at it straight on. And I just love how the sides have that sort of city park kind of feel to them. It really does help sort of end off the city and get ready to transition to the next platform, which on this side will be the Wild West. Over there will be a new platform, which has yet to be revealed. But anywho, that is it for today's video. I had a blast making this platform. It took many weeks of work just trying to figure out what to make, sculpting it, adding details, painting, all that stuff. It's a long process, but in the end, it's a fun thing that is super easy to put up. I don't have to do anything else next year except take out the platform and put it here. And that's it. Then I can add buildings and I'm good. So it's a really nice way to get a nice looking Spooky Town set up pretty fast once the platforms are made. The pink foam is really sturdy. Obviously, if you tried to squish it really hard with your fingers, you could poke holes in it, but the buildings are really flat on the bottom, so they work perfectly sitting on the foam. That is another not a thing to worry about. But yeah, that is it for today's video. The platform is all finished, so I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. Stay tuned for the next video, which on this channel, it could either be another Spooky Town platform or maybe some other sort of craft. Who knows? We will have to see. But I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.